Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Was glad to participate in our recent hearing on wildfires to highlight the importance of investing in climate and disaster mitigation, especially since the costs pale in comparison to the costs of inaction. That's why today we must also consider the importance of these preventative efforts. This includes the California Wildfire Mitigation Program, which is a state-level partnership with FEMA to provide grants for home hardening and other proactive measures. Not only do these actions protect homes and save lives, but they also provide confidence to insurers, which can help bring down costs for families. However, many of these programs require a federal cost share, which can be difficult for low-income and tribal communities to afford. And we simply cannot afford to further compound the issue by only protecting those who can afford it. My first question is for Ms. Watkins. Could you discuss the importance of ensuring that the communities of greatest need, greatest vulnerability often, are able to access these preventative resources and maybe discuss briefly whether we should consider modifying insurance premiums for families who need that flexibility?
So just to clarify, you're asking me how to get communities of greatest need access to federal grants?
Yeah, how do we address the accessibility vis-a-vis affordability concern?
Thank you for asking. Yes, I believe that the best way to help the communities, the lower income communities especially, is to give them information first, a realistic information of what they can expect, and then assist them. And that really starts with the best view of risk possible, and then an understanding of what are the most effective ways to drive down the risk. Wildfire is really complicated because it often starts in a place that's outside the community, so it's not under the control. PG&E, of course, has been associated with many of the ignitions. There's lightning, but it can start in other lands and then burn into a community. So in my work with the Western Fire Chiefs Association, what I've been told is that our coordination between the Forest Service and then inside the communities and the insurance industry and the different areas responsible for fire management is not where it should be. So what I believe they're saying is that we should prioritize WUI community fuel mitigation and then have more resources devoted to the communities that need the most resources.
Okay. Let me, just because our time flies around here,
Sure.
Jump to a second question and follow up with you on the affordability concern. Because I think there ought to be some flexibility to recognize the ability to pay in some communities and among some households. But you touch on where there's a dynamic of where fires start, there's a dynamic of where fires impact as they grow. I won't rattle off all the statistics of the series of wildfires California's experienced this last decade, worst on record. Nearly 13% of land area in California has burned, et cetera. But needless to say, every community has some level of fire risk. I want to ask, and I'll invite all of you to jump in here, what the crisis that we've seen, wildfires in the West, have meant for access to insurance policies in the West, particularly for rural communities or the communities in this, wildland-urban interface areas.
Thank you, Senator Padilla, for the question. Other states have made available grants for strengthening, for hardening homes, for having the roofs attached so that there wouldn't be embers going through the ventilation. Alabama initiated a program about 10 years ago, which was copied recently by Louisiana. And in my written testimony on the record, we do discuss California and Florida that are offering incentives in the form of premium discounts. And to the affordability question, well, first, the prudence or the imprudence of building in areas where you have the urban wild interface needs to be addressed. We need to have the standards such as the IBHS, the Insurance Institute for Building and Home Safety, Business and Home Safety, that has the specifications, what are the codes to limit wildfire. And as for the affordability, as with other programs, means testing should be available for those that are indigent or otherwise can't afford the insurance or the cost of doing the hardening.
If you want to go ahead, Senator, you can take another minute. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Braun is here.
And
My
insurance
apologies.
providers better at modeling future wildfire risk and identifying mitigation tools and other potential solutions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.